Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to Coffee and Commentary, a new segment of much-needed advice where we bring humor and perspective to current events and pop culture.
This episode is for all Sex and the City fans, which, let's be honest, is everyone. Even the straight men. Yes, every girl's boyfriend has watched Sex and the City with her, so we know your dirty secret. Julia and I are watching And Just Like That Season 2, and we hope you're watching along with us. As a reminder, episodes drop on the streaming platform Max on Thursday evenings. So grab your cup of coffee and get ready for some piping hot takes about episodes 1 and 2. Don't forget to let us know what you thought by clicking follow, subscribe, giving us 5 stars, and leaving a review. So the first 2 episodes of And Just Like That just dropped on HBO Max, aka Max.
Make up your mind.
We've been waiting for this moment for a year at least. Not because the show is good, because the show is bad.
Correct.
We are longtime fans of the original Sex and the City. I think I've watched the whole series 8 times. And every year it becomes more and more relatable. And Just Like That is the worst tribute to one of the greatest shows ever made.
Cosign. I don't understand what's wrong, like why everybody forgot how to make television, but it's bad.
Listen, we have the utmost respect for MPK, but it's like he feels untouchable now and has just gone rogue on all of us.
And shout out to the writers who are on strike right now. We support you. But also, what are you doing on this show?
How?
Let's just take a quick walk through all of the characters and what they're up to now.
Should we start with the worst character ever made for television? Che. Guys, I feel like the writers didn't take anybody's feedback from season 1 about Che.
It's kind of like they heard everything and then decided to do the opposite of what everybody wanted.
People aren't hating on Che because they're non-binary. They're hating on the character because they're a fuck they. Them.
Yes. Total fuck they them. Narcissistic, really, really bad comedian.
Bad communicator. Huge ego.
The biggest.
But deeply insecure on the inside.
Also, just a terrible match for Miranda, who's so easily frazzled. To be with a gaslighter is like so what I don't want to watch for entertainment.
So both of them just make each other spiral downward because they're both insecure and codependent.
Yeah.
And this isn't about the actor either.
Sarah Ramirez is a brilliant actor. We just found out they're 47 and they look fantastic. Also, they went to Juilliard, and one time Grey's Anatomy did a musical episode that everybody hated. But Sarah Ramirez is so good. They have a Tony, I believe.
Wow.
But let's talk about Carrie and her love interest, or her short-lived love interest.
Her lover.
Did they have no chemistry on purpose?
They made him have 0 personality.
His whole personality was he produces a podcast.
He couldn't make a joke. He couldn't get a joke. They had 0 banter. And to the point where it's like, how could he appreciate her and be her podcast producer and be that unfamiliar with her sense of humor?
It's really confusing. The opening scene with dialogue was between them, and it was so boring. I was like, what is this? Why?
Yeah, it's very unbelievable that he would want more out of that relationship either.
Right.
Like him being like, we can't possibly work together again because I just want more and I can't do this. Like there's no way he likes her that much. They barely talk.
They talked about salmon. Okay, on to Charlotte. Charlotte has no storyline.
Charlotte has the ugliest Met outfit.
Let's play word association with Charlotte's Met outfit. Okay, ready? Go.
Clown.
Mad Hatter.
Circus.
The end.
And Harry was the Monopoly Man. So Mad Hatter plus Monopoly Man.
She also had like chevron, or some kind of a diagonal stripe or chevron, which made the whole thing worse if that was possible. And she was wearing like a pleather bustier. It was so bad.
I love Charlotte getting sexy and not being stuffy, but she covered up that leather bustier with all this other crap.
Stupid.
Stop.
All right, on 3, let's say who we think had the best Met outfit.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
LTW.
By far. It was the only Met-worthy outfit.
And that scene where she's trying to talk to her husband, who for some reason is an idiot this season, through her red contraption in front of her face. Hilarious.
Loved it.
Some of the best acting in the show so far.
So the thing about her husband, the thing that's really annoying is she clearly needs help around the house. She needs her household motherhood burden to be lifted. And whether that's by him or by him hiring someone, since he's so eager to throw his money around, like she's not looking for more sex. And she's not looking for him to finance her films. These are the things he's offering to make her feel better when she's clearly overwhelmed and can't pick up the dry cleaning, which, why are you even doing that in the first place? Get it delivered.
They're rich. Where's her house manager?
Why is she expected to do it all?
Where's her nanny?
And it's like her little film career is like a side thing.
These characters all do this weird dance between like trying to act like they're not that rich, but they're clearly supposed to be super, super rich New Yorkers, right? This is supposed to be like the Gossip Girl for people in their 50s. Of course, they have staff in their house.
But they sleep in like child-sized beds, which I know is a TV thing. But
Carrie, I cannot stand your bed. We get it. You're cute. You're adorkable. Get rid of the fucking bed. Get a king. Get a California king. Nobody's having sex in your little twin bed.
Grow up. So big, huge question that I just assumed would have been explained but wasn't. How did everybody get multiple tickets to the Met Ball?
Is this like Coachella artist passes where just like everyone in New York knows someone? I thought the Met was the most exclusive party in the country.
Also very meta when Carrie was like, we're not famous people that get to be on the Met red carpet. When SJP is like the queen of the Met red carpet.
Well, I was expecting, because she's the queen of the Met, that they would have had a scene at the Met.
I know, that was so annoying. It was like, let's do this whole episode and then they get dressed and then it's over. And then the next episode is like none of it ever happened.
It was all leading up to it being like, oh, SJP's big connection is to the Met. She knows all these people. She knows Anna. So we're going to get a cool scene at the Met with some like fun celebrity cameos, right? But no, we got Tony Danza. Why?
Why?
I wonder if the Met was like, we can't be associated with your show.
Maybe. It could have been a licensing thing.
They use a lot of brand names, hence the Peloton disaster.
And then it's the real and the real deal.
Right. They were very careful to say it's not the real. We're like, okay, we got it. You don't want to get sued. Oh, speaking of licensing, the music this season. So they came out strong with a Britney and Elton song called Hold Me Closer. Super Hot came out probably when they were developing the show. So that must have cost a lot. They also had, there was another really familiar song later on in the show
when Miranda was like picking up the trash. Oh, I gotta look it up.
Oh, yeah. It was Hotel California by the Eagles. So anyway, they clearly threw down some cash for licensing. The songs kind of upstaged the show. Great songs, though.
I didn't even notice them because I think I was just so shocked by some of the plot points that made no sense. My brain was scrambled eggs. Who's left?
We haven't done Miranda, have we?
Miranda.
Lost. Oh, so lost.
So naked, so often.
The floating scene. The sticking point between Che and Miranda in these two episodes was such a contrived.
It was the dumbest.
It was the dumbest miscommunication.
Misconstrual. Is that a word?
It's like where in the rom-com someone says something and someone took it the wrong way, and then the entire show is based off of one tiny misunderstanding. It's like, that's not interesting. That's not believable. These are grown adults.
Miranda clearly feels like Che doesn't want anything more than sex, and also hints at that and asks about it constantly. But then they're together in public. She tries to hug them, and Che is like, no. And it very much looks like, I don't want to be seen in public with you. And then the reason is because they're on a diet. Like, what? Okay, 1, 2, 3. And just like that, episodes 1 and 2, awards. All right.
Greatest insult to comedy. Besides Che.
Who is the greatest insult to comedy?
It's either Che's closing joke for her stand-up routine being, yesterday I took an Uber from my bathroom to my bedroom and it was way too expensive. It was so deeply unfunny. Or Carrie explaining that her thanks for the Sex in the City line was a double entendre to her now ex-lover.
I could not with that.
The whole show's a double entendre. Carrie, you were always cheesy, but you didn't always have to explain your jokes.
The award for best outfit out of episode 1 and 2 is Carrie's flight suit. Like, so soft looking. It fit her perfectly, perfect amount of slouch.
It looked so comfortable and yet chic. It was very simple, yet it had the right amount of detail.
It was like very lived in looking.
It was a good color. It didn't wash her out at all, but was also like kind of earthy.
I could do without the pigeon purse.
I loved it. Give me that pigeon purse.
The award for best acting goes to
LTW talking to her husband on the street in her Met look with her red feather veil. Gold.
Or the surfers in Malibu, the beautiful surfers who were the most believable characters by far.
Oh, yeah. They were the only ones not overacting. Sorry to the cast.
And best outfit, that poncho.
The poncho was to die for. Next is Sexiest in the City. In my opinion, Seema.
Or her lover, the hot guy from Emily in Paris. One of the hot guys, I should say. Okay. Who carried the show? Let me just start by saying nothing was funny except for the environmentalist guy on the beach. And that was only like 2 seconds out of 2 entire episodes.
He needs an Oscar. He was hilarious.
He was great.
What's that actor's name? We need to shout him out.
Steve Hahn. Thank you, Steve, for elevating the show with your brilliant comedy.
You had great lines, but your line reads were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We should get Steve on the show.
Oh my God. That'd be amazing. Steve, how can we get you on the podcast?
How to carry a show is a side character without a name
Coming soon.
with Steve Hahn.
My vote for who carried the show is Lily's Purple Tapins. We got a Good Girl Gone Bad. We got some Rihanna business over here, and I'm all about it.
She's like, I don't play on my Steinway anymore. I play on this keyboard, and I hate privilege.
And I wear a knit beanie now. Fuck grown up with money. Except parents, will you buy me a keyboard in addition to my Steinway?
I have something to say.
It was a classic. We love that teen moment for her. Most unbelievable moment of the show so far this season.
There were so many already, and it's only been 2 episodes. I have to say, Seema deciding to not go to the Met because that dude wants to have lunch with her that day. Seema would never.
And
I don't buy it.
Get this, like, they can all go to the Met, but none of them really care about it. They're throwing around +1s to whoever's available at any given time. Carrie's putting her outfit together literally the day of or the day before. She would never do that.
No.
She would never do a fitting the day before. Like, this makes no sense.
I think it was day of.
That's not Carrie.
So that's another thing that's not believable.
Also, Carrie lives for established designers. I don't think we ever saw her in the original show wearing a no-name to anywhere important.
It's kind of annoying that they used Bobby Lee's wife, who's an amateur designer, that they then had her be super unprofessional and not pull it off. I thought that was really an annoying choice.
Yeah, that could have been a really cool moment to see a young woman trying to go from being a nobody to making it. Because now we have all of these characters, all the main characters on the show have made it, right? They're the elite of New York. But what we miss is kind of that story of getting there. And we could have seen that with some of the younger people, the next generation on the show, and even some older women being their mentors and supporters. And what does that look like? You know, how can this show start showing progressive ideals again? It feels like it was progressive back in 1998, and now it's stodgy.
Yeah, Carrie won't even say vagina on her sex podcast.
Other most unbelievable moment, though, is that her not saying vagina in one ad on her sex podcast was the reason the entire network shut down in like 2 days. And they all had to move out of the building same day.
Everyone's laid off, like carrying their boxes. And she's just like, oh, well. And just like that, my week cleared up. It's like because of her. And
People's
she's like,
lives have been ruined. Meanwhile, she's famous and she doesn't need to work.
No, that's why she didn't care.
And she's like, oops.
What about, I know you have a most unbelievable moment that shocked you.
Okay, so Miranda's on the beach, right? She's clearly a mess. I don't know how she ever got through Harvard or held her life together and why it's all going south now. Like, was it all Steve? Was Steve the one handling all of her business for her?
Steve.
How does she have Miranda? Literally, like, Steve was like the pillar of her life, apparently. And now she is losing her phone. She's like unable to get out of a float tank. Like what is happening to Miranda?
Can't figure out a strap on.
What is she? Just this like weird, quirky, just she can never figure out anything on her own girl.
Yeah, did we forget she was the only one that had it figured out?
Right. She's the one who has her shit together. She's the one who's responsible. And I get that we want to see her stepping outside of her comfort zone, but that doesn't mean that you all of a sudden lose your prefrontal cortex.
And she acts so ridiculous, like when she threw her phone in a bag of kelp or whatever she did. Why couldn't she be like, oh no, I think I accidentally threw my phone in there. Instead, she's like, help, my phone, I lost my phone. It's like,
Miranda
what the fuck?
is is helpless to the point of ridiculousness in this season. And I think they think it's funny. The float tank fumbling was a little bit funny. But other than that, it's just kind of confusing and sad and weird.
I mean, who among us hasn't gotten the salt in their eyes in a float tank?
Oh, for sure. That I get. But anyway, so she's on the beach. She lost her phone. Surfers enter the picture. And all of a sudden, I wish I was watching Outer Banks instead of this show because they're so hot. And she's calling Che. And in my mind, I literally texted Julia and said, oh, well, great. So Che's going to send Miranda an Uber now.
Obviously. It's the obvious answer.
Every fuck they knows how to call someone else an Uber when it's time to get them someplace out of their house or into their house, right? But I guess Uber hasn't been invented on this show yet.
No, it has, because Miranda's like, I lost my phone, so now I can't call an Uber.
So Che, without explaining any of it, the only thing they could think to do was call their current husband. Why? Why was that the only option? Why wouldn't they explain what's going on? And why was it Oliver Hudson? We love him, but that was another one of the most unbelievable moments of the show.
But very believable character that was a Malibu guy and a bartender, although a Soho House bartender at Soho Malibu would not live in Malibu. But
that's a very good point.
But the most unbelievable part was that Oliver Hudson's character is married to Che.
They're really pulling at straws with this Miranda Che relationship.
This is a very specific category. The most believable side character name would have to go to Eden as the girl who worked at The Real Deal. That girl was totally in Eden.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte was so unbelievably annoying in that scene.
She was being a Karen.
Right. She dropped the card of her husband being a partner at a law firm as if this cashier gives a shit.
Here's a big question. Is Charlotte a Karen?
I don't think she used to be. I don't feel like she ever just went off on service industry workers in the original story and like tried to big time this retail worker because of who her husband is. Like, how ridiculous is that?
I want Charlotte to have her own life again.
Which they're kind of teasing. Like, Charlotte's whole life is about her girls, and she wants to get back to being her again. Mm-hmm. We'd like Charlotte to get back to being Charlotte as well. So, looking forward to that. I think the only thing I'm proud of Miranda for this season is that she is finally going to European Wax Center. She's clearly taking care of her business. We know in the first movie that was an issue. So hopefully Samantha's comment helped her get it into gear.
But do what you want with your pubes.
Yeah.
Just don't show all of us, you know?
Yeah, Miranda went full body naked.
Miranda? Oh, we haven't talked about Naya.
Naya's unhinged.
I liked Naya last season, and I like that actress, and I think she's beautiful, and I like Miranda having a smart friend, but now she's absolutely insane. One smart friend.
Naya has a PhD. She's a professor at Columbia, NYU.
Something.
And then she's just getting like sloppy drunk all of a sudden.
She's supposed to be cool and smart. Yeah. Also, can she meet the other women, or do we have to just hear about her through phone calls with Miranda?
Her not being folded into the group and staying close friends with Miranda doesn't even track.
Like, why even keep her in the show then?
Either bring Naya in or
leave her out.
Leave her out.
We're missing Samantha big time.
She was the funny one. She was also the smart one, the progressive one. the one who was fun to watch having sex.
Yeah, the entertaining one.
The upbeat one, she was the most positive one. All the rest of them complain all the time and they're huge downers and are always have their head up their asses. Whereas Samantha was always like kind of the one cheering everyone up. Like, you know what? Just
she was always figuring it out, getting them on lists, getting them into the new nightclubs, the new restaurants. Like she made their entire social life.
I would love to see a spinoff that's just about Samantha. And I'm wondering if there's like any kind of feud between Michael Patrick King and Darren Star. I'm going Darren Star. Darren Star did Emily in Paris. And next I want to see Samantha in London. I want to see the best boyfriend that was ever on Sex and the City.
Smith Jared.
He was the most supportive boyfriend. He was the least selfish boyfriend. He was the most down-to-earth boyfriend.
And they actually had an interesting dynamic that wasn't just like, I'm dating a rich asshole.
And they had problems that were interesting too, that forced both of them to get really vulnerable instead of these like, oh, I'm the wife who juggles it all and my husband just wants to write me a check. Huh?
Samantha and Smith both had their own arcs, independent of each other. Right, like she got really successful. She made him really successful.
Mm-hmm.
They both leveled up in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
They taught each other things and they both had to evolve.
Their relationship got the realest of all the relationships. And they got through it. Big goals. Anything else? What did we have up here?
Okay. And Just Like That is trying to be better about representation.
Which we applaud.
They have a disabled character, they have a non-binary character, but they've chosen to make those characters terrible.
The worst, the meanest people. Like the woman who's disabled is so mean.
Yeah.
Like even the worst of coworkers aren't that mean, blatantly in your face.
Right. Also, if the whole podcast studio network was going under, why didn't she just say that ahead of time? Carrie has like $1 quadrillion. She probably could have just been like, oh, here, I can keep it afloat.
She has all of Big's money that she's not even spending on an apartment because she has to live in her quaint little apartment because she's so quaint and nostalgic. Okay. Use that money for good. What's Carrie doing with her money? Who is getting it? Is she giving it away? Is she going to become a philanthropist? Like, when is Carrie going to not have her head up her butt?
Never.
Like, she didn't even offer to support all of the other podcasts that supposedly got canceled because of her. Carrie, give us money for our podcast.
We can circle this back to, we're talking about representation, and this isn't representation, but the non-binary character sucks. The disabled character sucks. And then we've got this up-and-coming designer character.
Yes.
And she sucks.
Right. So it went from a show of being all about privileged, successful white women to being about privileged, successful white women and
all the other types of people in the world, but they all suck.
right.